Bob Noon. I'm the editor of the journal Family Systems, which is published by the Georgetown Family Center. And one of the features in the journal, which will be out in the next couple of weeks, the next issue. And in this issue, like each issue, there are a couple of book reviews. And so today I have the privilege of interviewing an author of one of the book reviews, Stephanie Ferrara. Stephanie is on the faculty of the Center for Family Consultation. She also was the recent guest editor of the journal for a special issue on climate. She is the author of numerous articles, a very prolific writer, and has actually reviewed several books for the journal in the past. So I thought we might just describe that. You have a book review in the issue that's coming out, Stephanie. I gather you even know the author.
Well, I really was excited, Bob, when I realized that you were putting together a book, and this book represents, I think, close to 5 decades of dedicated work in looking into a number of scientific disciplines, following up on Dr. Bowen's mandate to create a science of human behavior, following the principle of consilience, I think, is what makes sense to me, that you build a theory by looking at research from various disciplines as broadly as you can, and see what parts are consistent. And that was, I think, Dr. Bowen's effort in his lifetime and his hope for the future, that others would continue to build that science of human behavior through the multidisciplinary approach. And I know I think we both started studying with Dr. Bowen in the 1970s.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think, since the 1970s, from my own view, the theory has continued to be developed.
Yeah.
And Dr. Bowen's interest in the theory being connected to the sciences and knowledge developing in the sciences. And many of those who have taken the theory seriously and have delved into the sciences have in many ways enriched the theory. And I think that people don't know the extent to which the theory has grown and become richer over the years. Particularly, I think the neurosciences and evolutionary biology have been largely supportive, from my view, of Bowen theory. I know you have done a good deal of work related to immersing yourself in the sciences as well.
Well, I have, and I think I've gone into some different areas than what you have, but I know you really took the pathway to the brain, became fascinated with the brain, and what a remarkable phenomenon is the human brain, and how it distinguishes the species from all other species. The closest related species have much smaller brains than humans, and have had a trajectory very different from the human trajectory. So I think that was something I enjoyed finding in the book, was your work on looking at the evolution of the brain in conjunction with the evolution of the family, and seeing that a brain that complex required an extremely complex social environment to develop. And so I think that piece of it is, I've heard you talk about it for a long time, and I think it's pretty original on your part that you've seen the connection there, the coevolution of the brain and the family. So that I was pleased to see that. I was pleased to see a lot of work that I've heard you talk about over time, the epigenetics and all that body of work that is looking like it really supports the concept of multi-generational family transmission. And your research on the stress response and the neural circuitry in the brain that you have charted out for us at different meetings. And so to me, when I saw the book, I thought, this is the culmination, this is all of the chapters and the articles and the presentations kind of come together. And what I appreciate about the writing is that it's truly integrated systems thinking. That there's a sort of, I thought to myself, this book is the product of a very orderly brain, that you were able to take things from so many different scientists, and each one of them representing a significant body of work, more than the work of one person, whole teams of people. And you were able to summarize the essence of what they did, what was the experiment, what were the conclusions, what were the hypotheses that they drew from their work. And you summarize that so well in so many ways in the book, throughout the book. And then the book is also a complete, thoroughgoing review of Bowen family systems theory, the 8 concepts in the theory. And not only the concepts themselves, but how do you apply the concepts in your own life? You have a wonderful chapter on doing, how did the application of the theory evolve, along with the scientific part? How did the practical application develop? How did people start to use the theory to work on their own level of differentiation, go back to their own families of origin? It's really comprehensive how much you've been able to put into the book.
Well, I think it's one of the remarkable things about Bowen theory, as you know, is that it really affords a framework for the integration of knowledge in a really broad landscape.
Yeah.
From the social sciences, the natural sciences, and then, of course, as you mentioned, it's a theory that's applicable. It's not just an intellectual exercise, but it is one that can allow individuals who are interested in moving forward in their lives to look at some of the complexity of our lives.
It's a living theory. and I think what has attracted most people to the theory is that they recognized that Bowen was talking about their own families. And, how did Dr. Bowen know all about my family? He never met them. Well, yeah, he did. He must be onto something. I got to find out how he figured all this out so I can do the same.
Well, getting the literature out there, I think, is important. As you know, I've been interested for some time and curious about the extent to which family seems to be overlooked as so central to human behavior. People will mention the family, but in terms of the family as a unit, and it was one of the great discoveries that Bowen made, is its contribution, which is the theme of the book, in shaping the adaptive capacity of individuals. And this is at a very basic biological as well as psychological level, and being able to capture that in the way that he did. It's still not out there in the sciences, but hopefully some of the literature will lead some that will take up the theory in different disciplines beyond just the mental health field.
Yeah. That to me is one of the most original things. I think Dr. Bowen's theory it's relatively new and it's very original. He is the idea of the family as an emotional unit. It wasn't seen before. People went from looking at the individual to looking at the group and missing the fact that there's this other very distinctive kind of unit. It is the unit of biological reproduction. It is the only family group that has the mission of reproduction. And that distinguishes the family. And people apparently haven't quite recognized. I've tried to bring that up with a few people along the way, and who are from other fields, and they can't quite latch on to it. I think they're the idea of selection operating at the individual and the group levels, but missing the family as something apart from that, something separate from that. I think, and once, you know, the other tremendously original, powerful idea is the differentiation of self. If you don't understand the family as an emotional unit, how can you understand differentiation of self? You know, the two are, you know, interwoven concepts.
Well, it was one of the great gifts, was being able to see that relationship between the effort to work on differentiation of self and how embedded we are in the family, and that is the pathway towards improved functioning. Well, this is just a little discussion about the book review that you wrote. I'm so pleased that you were able to do that for the journal. Dr. McKnight has another book review in this coming issue, and I think this issue should be out in the next couple of weeks. So you have contributed a number of times to the journal, and this is one more time. So I appreciate it, Stephanie, and thanks for taking the time to chat about it today.
Well, it certainly was inspired by your work and the privilege of my seeing your work over so many years and learning so much of you from you, and you know, trying to follow. You've opened a lot of doors. You've introduced me to a lot of areas that I didn't tackle myself, but through you got the benefit of learning from them. So it's a work of appreciation.
Well, it's been reciprocal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.